Yeah, what's up for a nightcap? Chill, kick back.
And welcome to the Nightcap. I'm your host, Carolina Sanchez. And on this show, we like to have fun. We like to relax and really get to know one another. Have those conversations you have behind closed doors or in group texts with your friends, and maybe you're a little afraid to discuss out in the open. We're going to discuss them here on this show. And we're going to do it with a drink in hand, baby. And sometimes we have bartenders who visit us, like my girl, Brittany. What are you stirring up, girl?
We're going to do some little sweet, some little peachy, a little sensual for the conversation of the night.
Ooh, I love this. And
Yes.
this looks like it's perfect for the guests who are showing up right now. Oh. Hey, Dr. Viviana and the men from the Pour Horsemen podcast. Welcome, welcome.
Yes.
It's perfect that you guys are here because what a conversation we're going to have.
Definitely.
We're talking about what happens between the sheets, right? And
Ooh.
I mean, the stereotype, we know what it is. Men are hornballs. I mean, honestly, all you hear about on mainstream media, on the movies, and the TV shows is men think about sex all the time, and they want it here, they want it there, and it doesn't even matter if they're gay, straight, or anything in between. That's all they think about. But what about the women and their sex drive? Don't they have their own wants and their own needs? So here to unpack it is obviously somebody who's very licensed to do this, is Dr. Viviana Coles. You're a sex and relationship therapist, and you know all about this.
I do. And you know what? While it's true that men do want sex, what's most troubling is that we don't hear that women want sex too.
Hello.
And
Yeah.
that is absolutely the truth. And I don't think that you can have one and not have the other.
Right.
Right? At least not in a healthy relationship.
Right. So do you think it's that women don't like to talk about it because they've been shamed for such a long time and there's some sort of guilt, or?
I think that men do a much better job of not pigeonholing themselves.
Oh.
They tend to be open and receptive to sexual cues much more often than women do. We tend to go, in this context, does it make sense to be horny? No? Okay, well then I'm not gonna. Whereas men might be a little bit more open to, well, I can have a little bit of both.
Wait, what do you mean? Are we like compartmentalizing when and where we can have sex?
Where and when we can have sexual thoughts.
What?
Yes. Of course you can't have sex wherever you want, but you can have sexual fantasies. And that's the sort of thing that I don't think it has to be disordered. When you're doing a little bit of the laundry and doing the dishes, it's okay to picture you and your partner getting nasty.
Yeah. I mean, but now I'm like trying to think about when I think about sex, and if I don't think about it, like, I mean, I feel like men probably think about it when they're at work or when they're at their gym or driving their cars.
They're open to it.
They're
That's
open
the
to
thing.
thinking
They're
about
open to receiving the messages that are sexual in nature, whereas I think women, we tend to like turn it off and on.
Because we think it's inappropriate?
Because
Or?
we think it's inappropriate, or it just, maybe it'll distract us or take us away from our goals. And I think we could learn something from men in saying it's okay if it's underlying the surface. It doesn't necessarily always have to like pop out into the real world.
And we don't have to be very vocal about it. We can at least just, think about it.
Have those sexual thoughts and the desire will come with it.
Okay, so recently I read this article about this woman who left her marriage because she realized after a year or two of not having sex, she needed sex. And I feel like that always happens in couples, but you would think that the man's like either stepping out or saying goodbye, but women also have those needs.
Yeah, and I don't think that everyone who's not having sex in their relationship is always going to step out. Some of them will suffer quietly or figure out how to impose other thoughts and get those in the way. It's not the healthiest, but for some people it's the only thing that they have when they're not going to cheat and they're not going to divorce.
Ugh, so what do you recommend?
Well, I think that you should definitely check out my book, The 4 Intimacy Styles.
Yep.
Because what that will do is help you to understand why it is so important to have healthy sexual intimacy in a long-term monogamous relationship. Right. I mean, everybody can be down for a one-night stand here and there, but if you're really trying to do the work and stay with one person and stay satisfied, you need to know the why. And then the how is also very important. And I know that knowing your intimacy style and how to round it out gets people the forever in the bedroom.
I mean, I really want to dive into your book, and we'll actually do a little bit from your quiz later on. But as far as, women who are suffering through their relationship and they're feeling the shame, right? And they're wanting intimacy with their partner and they're not able to achieve it. What can they do? How do they communicate?
knowing the why and sharing the why is usually more important than the how. Whenever somebody asks something of you, anybody, a coworker, a friend, a relative, sometimes you're like, yes, I can do that. But most of the time, you're going to be much more likely to do it and do it over and over again consistently if you understand what it means to them. We don't often think about that. We don't often think about why sexuality is so important to us. We just know that it is, or that it should be. And it's important to know that. And then once you can share that with your partner, they'll be much more likely to think about how they can enhance your everyday sexuality. I'm a big proponent of everyday intimacy.
Oh, and it's not always sexual, or is it always sexual?
It's not always sexual.
Oh, okay.
I think that we need to tap into the sensuality of everyday life, and that includes those sexual fantasies. That includes allowing yourself to feel, to accept those cues that I think a lot of men are just more likely to open the door to.
Okay, we're going to have to bring in the male perspective on this with the Pour Horsemen and see how they tackle this, because we got to learn from the men just how to get those cues. And really let them in, baby. But before we bring them on, we're actually going to head over to Brittany, who's got that peach panty dropper.
You're watching the Nightcap. Don't go anywhere.
Houston weather can change in a flash. That's why Fox 26, your Gulf Coast Weather Authority, is always there.
Ready to help you survive any storm.
Tracking severe storms with Fox Rad radar.
Forecasting with facts, not fear.
With decades of experience covering the Gulf Coast.
We've lived it, we've covered it.
Delivering critical weather information whenever you need it.
When severe weather threatens, you know where to turn.
Fox 26 is your Gulf Coast Weather Authority.
Welcome back to the Nightcap. Brittany's here to make a nice cocktail, so we're gonna back that glass up, baby.
We're gonna do a peach panty dropper.
Perfect.
Something sweet and a little sultry because, you know, top of the conversation.
Yeah.
So it's super simple to make at home, only 4 ingredients in equal parts. So we're gonna do some pineapple juice, 2 ounces.
Okay.
Into the glass.
Which is very sweet.
Yeah, it's very sweet. So this drink is gonna be sweet, which makes it a little deceiving.
Oh. Okay.
Right? So it is called a panty dropper.
For maybe there will be some things on the floor.
Maybe they will. I don't know. Give me an update after you sip it.
Wow.
We shall see. So that was a little bit of raspberry lemonade that I just poured in. This is going to be some peach schnapps, 2 ounces of each.
And the raspberry lemonade, that's just a juice.
Yeah, just a juice. So we have our pineapple juice, a little bit of raspberry lemonade, just a juice, peach schnapps, a little bit of alcohol, and then we have some raspberry vodka. Ooh. Now you can use regular vodka, but I prefer the taste of the raspberry in it too. It's gonna complement the raspberry lemonade. Ooh. So we're doing 2 ounces of each one. Super simple.
Two. You made this very simple.
2, 2, and 2. That's it. And then we're gonna put a little bit of ice in.
We're gonna shake it up.
We're gonna do a little shaking
of
the drink and other things, possibly. All right. So we're gonna shake for a little bit to combine. Shaker will get a little cold. You'll know that it's mixed well and chilled. So we're gonna put a little bit of a little ice into a tall glass.
And why don't I just use the ice that's in the...
For me, I prefer for my drinks to dilute a little bit slower. So I don't want to pour it a dirty pour.
Oh, a dirty pour.
You know, I want it to kind of like dissolve over time. Yeah, we want all the taste up front. We don't want to dilute it anymore. It's already been diluted in the shaker. So we're gonna just let it sit on top of the ice.
Perfect.
So we're gonna pour it over the ice.
Love it. Oh, this is quite the libation, baby.
A little jazzy.
Yes.
You know? Perfect pour.
Fancy.
And then we're gonna take a lemon peel and we're gonna express it. So
what does this do?
So that's just gonna give you the essence of the lemon on top of the drink. So when you sip it, you're gonna hit that lemon. Little, you know.
I always thought it was just for decor, but it's actually for flavor.
I mean, it is cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
But it does serve a purpose.
Oh.
So we're gonna put that on top. Okay. There you go.
So you've got yours.
Let me get mine as well.
All right, I give honest reviews, so.
Okay, let me know.
Oh, that's dangerous.
It's good, right?
That's dangerous. That's
You can't
juice.
taste it up front.
You can't taste anything. I mean, you can taste everything, but you don't taste the alcohol when I say anything.
Which makes it a little bit dangerous, but in a good way.
But this is perfect. I love that you've given this to the guests because I need them to actually get those loose lips going.
Yeah, we gotta loosen up a little bit, like Dr. Viviana said, you know.
Yes, especially as women. But the men obviously have no problem discussing this. Is why it's all over mainstream media.
Right.
So coming up next, the Pour Horsemen are joining us on the couch to really break down that male perspective. Can't wait to get into it. Dr. Viviana is going to help me get into it and learn what we got to learn about messy X.
You're watching the Nightcap. Don't go anywhere.
Get more Fox 26 online. Just head over to fox26houston.com and click on our live stream. More inspiring stories with Melissa Wilson.
And welcome to Lunch for the Soul. I'm Melissa
More of the latest music with Ruben Dominguez.
It is time for the drop, talking about all the latest in new music.
Parent-to-parent conversations with Rashi Vaz.
Social media plays such a big role in all of this.
More shows, more stories. The fox26houston.com live stream. Hit play today.
Welcome back to the Nightcap. We've been talking about sex. Yep, we've been trying to figure out why women are perceived as not wanting as much sex as men. And it's because we need to be taking cues from how men actually think about sex, according to Dr. Viviana. But we need that male perspective. So joining us is the Pour Horsemen. Half of them anyway. We've got KC and LP. So, how often are y'all thinking about sex?
Possibly right now. You know, I think if we're being honest, as you mentioned before, it's probably a daily thing, hourly thing, by minute. We're probably thinking about it right now as well.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm for sure thinking about it right now.
What?
It's this drink. I mean,
it's the
you
penny
can't give
dropper.
us a drink called a penny dropper and not expect us to be thinking about that.
Well, for me, it's the person who made the drink.
Oh.
So, you know, I got some, I guess, in this situation.
Okay.
And yeah, just watching them make the drink kind of enticed me.
You and Bee Sting over there are a couple.
Yes,
We're
that's my wife.
establishing that's your wife. Oh, and she's very happy looking at you. So it's a normal thing to think about it all day, every day. This is not a misconception or some sort of stereotype that we've made up. This is real.
It can borderline to creepy.
Oh, really?
Yes, because, you know, if you think about it all the time, then, like, it can become detrimental to what you're doing in the day.
Oh.
And if it does that and it just makes you go outside of your character, that's when it gets creepy.
Okay, so
let me jump in here.
Yes.
I think what he's trying to say is, so like for instance, my job, I think about and talk about sex all day long.
Yeah.
There's a difference between talking about sex, thinking about sex, and getting aroused. So that's where the distinction is.
Okay.
And I think a lot of women think, well, if I'm thinking about sex or talking about sex, it's going to be arousing. Not always. And men do a really good job of showing that. They can be thinking about things or allow some fantasy to come in, you know, go into the file, right, back there. But that doesn't mean that they're always getting aroused.
So how do you think about sex without getting aroused? What do you mean?
I think scenarios is probably a good way to say it. Men often do a lot of things with anticipation. We're thinking about the next time, the next opportunity. You know, as a married man, I'm often thinking about when will I get to engage with my wife again? But that doesn't mean in the moment that we're aroused. It's just a part of the process of keeping our energy towards our partner, our spouse, our mate.
And I'm always telling my clients, seduction starts at the end of the last sexual experience. So that's what men do, and you said it perfectly, LP, is that he's thinking about and anticipating the next experience, whereas I think women are like, okay, that's done, check, or let me move on to my other million things that I need to do, and sex gets pushed to the very back, whereas men are like, it's gonna be here, I'm not gonna be doing it, but it's gonna be around.
And do you guys have like thoughts that is there something that like replays?
Oh, I had sessions where that's replayed in my mind, and then I think back
You're
to...
replaying them right now.
Sometimes, you know. But like he said, I always think about, you know, the next time or ways I can make it special I don't want to just go in like, hey.
You don't just want to
thrust
in there without
I don't
want
to just thrust.
Okay,
you know, we passed that stage of our lives, but it was just one time I was just a horn dog.
Just kidding.
Yeah, you can just ask.
Right here, boo-boo.
Yeah. But it's more of a, you know, men, we are often going towards something. I think you mentioned that women have like a stop. Men are always going forward. So that forward also includes us chasing after women, chasing after our woman, trying to attract her, keep her engaged, keep her interested. So a part of that is, okay, what's our next encounter going to look like? We never have a turnoff for that. You know, that's a part of our ambition. Blame testosterone.
Or could it be, Dr. Viviana, because women have been taught that, you know, if they think about sex or if they have sexual partners, they're hoes and they're loose and...
Scarlet letter.
Yeah, that there's something wrong with them if they're thinking about sex often or allowing for sexuality to just kind of be around, you know?
Yeah.
You said something that I think is really interesting. I talk about it in my book. I would say that a lot of men don't know how to share their sexual frustration because if they were to tell their partners what they really feel, which is, I don't feel wanted, I don't feel desired by you, and that means so much to me, but I don't know how to tell you that without saying, I want sex. So if you were to share that and say, gosh, when you show me sexual attention, I feel desired, I feel attracted, I feel worthy. Not that they don't in other ways, but that's the way that they can find it only with you in a monogamous relationship. If you're not giving it to them, they're going to feel lacking.
Yeah, communication is probably the most important thing in a relationship we know.
Right.
And communication around intimacy, men use a different language than women do. You know, we're visual.
Why are you laughing?
Because he's right.
Are you thinking of a specific situation?
Yeah, I mean, our terminology is
different.
It's very different.
Okay, so what's the male terminology?
A lot of it is we're visual, so we're looking for visual cues. It might not be something verbally that's said. We look for things. Okay, well, this is our opportunity. You know, with women, it may be more, you need to know exactly what's happening in that moment right now.
Planned.
Kids are to sleep, planned. Everything has to be a scenario. With men, we're not really like that.
It's just an eye contact sort of thing.
I could get a T-shirt out of the laundry if it feels some type of way I'm trying to knock down.
Okay.
Well, and that's why it's so important to be able to share that you're interested, because I think a lot of men will say, well, I'm just going to go over and tease her and thinking, well, if she, depending on how she responds, I'll keep going and I'll put on a full seduction, right? But otherwise, I'm not going to do all that and just to get rejected.
Right.
And then what the women do is either swat them away and laugh, when what really needs to happen is like a, hey, are you available for this? Like, are you open to this? Or if not right now, when? It's okay to schedule sex, y'all.
Is it okay? Yes. I feel like that is just so boring. No?
High five.
Okay, let me tell you, if you're getting it spontaneously, you don't need to schedule. But if you're not, you need to schedule.
You need a solution, and the solution is
darling,
schedule.
we'll be having sex at 5 p.m.
So get ready. Anticipate. Do what you need to do, because I'm going to be waiting for you upstairs.
And I think the
afternoon delight.
The longer you're in a relationship, sex may take less importance. You know, you're taking care of kids. It becomes less of a priority. Maybe your career, your job, you may travel, etc. So that schedule can give you something to look forward to. As I mentioned before, having something you anticipate, knowing 5 o'clock on Friday, you will do push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, might even take vitamins. You'll be ready to go. You'll be ready to go.
Gas station pills. Okay,
I don't take them things.
Ice me out. All right. Well, I'm putting you to the test, because now we know that our dear Brittany is your wife. You know, Dr. Viviana Coles, she's got a book with a quiz. So we're going to see if your intimacy styles are the same.
You're watching the Nightcap. Stay right there.
The Fox 26 weather app with more features in one easy-to-use screen. Current weather at a glance, high-resolution interactive radar, severe weather alerts, video forecasts, and much more. It's the power of your Gulf Coast Weather Authority in the palm of your hand. The Fox 26 weather app. Download it today.
Welcome back. We've been talking about intimacy, and Dr. Viviana Coles has been taking us to school, basically. And I've kicked LP off to the bar and brought Brittany in, because we're going to quiz you guys a little bit about your intimacy style, which, Doctor, you've got a whole book about the 4 different styles, right?
I do. So what I'm finding is that it's not enough to be one. If you want to be happy in a relationship for the long term, you need to have all 4 intimacy styles in just about every sexual experience. That's bonding, release, giving, and responsive. So I have a quiz in my book to make sure that you know what percentage of each you already have, so you know how to work towards 25% of each and round it out.
Okay, well, so we're not going to give you guys the full quiz, but we're going to give you one question, and we'll see where you guys land based on your answer, all right? Yeah. Feel free to look. We want to spice up our sex life. I am most likely to A, feel hopeful that sharing both of our ideas will bring us close together. B, buy that toy my partner mentioned they wanted to try with me and schedule a date to use it. C, listen for any clues as to what my partner would like to try and make sure to do those things. Or D, look up a new position to try just in case they ever bring it up again.
C.
My guy.
He's quick draw.
It's okay.
Oh.
What's
My bad.
No, you're good. All right. Brittany, honestly?
I'm going to say C as well.
Ah.
But my second choice would be D.
Okay, so C, listen for any clues as to what my partner would like to try and make sure to do those things. Wow. Or look up a new position to try just in case they bring it up again. All right, what does this mean?
Okay, what this means is that both of them, in this instance, would be very responsive. That means that you're okay with having your partner take the lead. Now, if that's the only thing you did, y'all wouldn't be getting anywhere, right? So it's important for you to be able to allow your partner to take the lead and be comfortable with that, but you also want to look for those bonding experiences, those giving experiences, as well as the release. I love what you have going on. I can tell the banter's there, but make sure that it translates into the bedroom as well.
If you find that couples are always giving or always receiving, or they're a very high percentage of one of the 4 styles, like how do you remedy that?
Well, that's why I think it's so important to understand the how to fix all of this, how to round out your intimacy style. There are lots of examples given in the book. I'm actually coming out with something really fun. It's all about the how, and I'm sure I'll give you the scoop next time.
I love it. Okay, you're going to have to come back for that. Thank you guys so much for coming. Brittany, Casey, LP, you can come on back. Appreciate you, Dr. Viviana Coles. I mean, we talk about it all in the Nightcap. You got to come back. We're here Monday through Friday every night on Fox 26, and we're streaming on Fox Soul. It's always a good time. Cheers to y'all. We'll see you next time.